Welcome, everybody. It's Tuesday night. It's 9:30. And it's time to go behind the hedges. I'm your host, Mitch, and I'm here with my co-host, Matt. And tonight we are going to sing you all a little song, and it goes something like this. We are the champions of the SEC. So what about it, Matt?
I'm sorry, I thought we was in yoga meditation class with that new intro theme you just played. It was quite relaxing. I
Oh,
enjoyed it.
yes. Well, we have some time to
Oh,
relax now.
we did the thing last year's team couldn't do. The
That's true.
generational team, the
That's
national
true.
championship team, the team that people said lost too many, lost too much. There's no way the 2022 Georgia Bulldogs will even approach being that good. We're penciling them in for one loss. They're definitely probably going to lose to Alabama in the championship game and might pick up another loss along the way.
That's true. That's
Splat!
true. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Expectations met and surpassed. So what, Matt? Are we good? Like, if Georgia doesn't win another game this season, is this a success, or are we natty or bust? How do we feel?
No, my expectation was playoff appearance or bust. Okay?
Okay.
Which we have done. If we lose to Ohio State, that'll sting. That will be disappointing. But I'm happy with this season because this was supposed to be the season that we rebuild. You know, you lose 15 guys to the draft, you can't come back from that, right? Georgia's good, Georgia's deep, Kirby's recruiting, at an elite level, but not that elite, right? That's the story. People, I said it. I said, yeah, we're going to take a few steps back, sure, but it ain't going to be as many steps as y'all thought. Even I was wrong. There's a first time
Yeah.
for everything. I didn't realize we would get the job done like this. So we're here. We got Ohio State. We've made the playoffs. I'm happy with this season. This is, if you didn't already know, Georgia's not going anywhere. We are still trending upwards. If we sneak in here and get another natty, though, and become a consensus repeat national champion,
Ooh, buddy.
that's a different that's a different conversation about a different type of program. That's
Yeah.
there's no more debate on who's who and what's what. If we pull this off and we snatch a natty 2 years in a row in the playoff era, um, we're not the new Alabama. It's now Alabama had their time, and now it's Georgia. Okay. Before
Wow.
that, it was Nebraska in the 90s. Before that, it was Oklahoma in the 50s. Those are the only teams that have been a consensus repeat national champion. And if you want to go further back than Nebraska in the 50s, you got to start going back to like service academies, Ivy League, Minnesota in the 30s. If we
Yeah.
pull this off, I ain't gonna really have much to say to anybody else who can't sit at that table. I'll talk with Bama fans. I guess I'll talk to Nebraska fans, and then I got to go find some Minnesota fans. The rest of y'all can, have a Coke and a smile, sit down and shut the fuck up. I don't know what to tell you.
Heard
So if
that,
you
brother.
like me, if you like this Ducati persona where we talk shit and we get riled up, you better enjoy it now, and you better pull for Ohio State, because if we pull this off, you're going to see the Zen Master just flick you away.
Well, let's see what this music does for you.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm thinking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh,
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah, man. I mean, I want to repeat now, but mission accomplished for what I think we laid out in the preseason and through the season. A lot of folks are nervous. SEC, the SEC crowd's nervous because they've seen what it looks like when we mess around, right?
Sure. Sure.
They've seen what it looks like when we play down. I'm gonna say this to y'all. What does it look like when we play up? What does it look like when the stakes are high? What does it look like when we deem the opponent worthy? What have we done? What is the only thing we have done when a monster team who's built to beat us and the stakes are high faces off with the Georgia Bulldogs? What have we done? What is the proof? What is the evidence? What is the story? Mitch.
All I can say is I can go back to that comment we made before, the angel of death, dude. I mean, ask Oregon, ask South Carolina, ask Tennessee. I mean, ask LSU. You know, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. When we have deemed our opponent worthy, they have died in a horrible, horrible fire. You know, and
Should we be worried that LSU threw 500 plus yards and
well,
scored
let's
30
talk about
points?
that. So,
Or let me finish my sentence. Should we be worried that LSU threw for 500 yards and put up 30 points? Or should everybody else in the world be worried that LSU threw for 500 yards and put up 30 points and lost?
and lost by 3 scores.
By 23 possessions.
Yeah.
What are you looking at? I mean, what are you 1-1 makes 3 with this team. Forget everything you know, swallow your pride, and understand that you're not going to predict this team. It doesn't make sense. Repeats don't happen, and here we are on the verge of it. You can't struggle with Kent State and Missouri, then turn around and bitch slap Tennessee, who was the hottest thing since sliced bread till they came to Athens. It don't make no sense.
There's still people trying to wrap their heads around that, dude. And
you can't beat Oregon by 46 points. You can't do it. Or whatever it was. What was it, 46, 43?
Yeah, 46. It was 46.
You can't do it. You can't go into Columbia and just scold. Well, actually, you can do that. Sorry, Carolina.
I mean, let's be fair to Carolina, though. I mean, they did finish up the season with 2 top 10 wins. I mean, they're not a slouchy team this year.
But Mitch, you can't do all of these things. You cannot do all of these things after you just had a generational team with a generational defense and lost 15 dudes to the draft in one class. You can't do it. Not possible. You got to rebuild, right? You got to slip up somewhere, and you got to lose to Bama along the way. But Bama didn't deserve to sit at the table this year. They stubbed their own toe and made their own bed. They don't deserve to sit at the table with Georgia this year. So that got taken.
True. I mean, I heard all the comments too. I listened to them earlier. There was a really good video out there on YouTube. Man, I wish I had it at my disposal right now. It was a 2022 Georgia hype video I saw where they play all the media. You know, you can't lose this many guys. You know, Georgia's going to take a step back and this and that and the other. All the things that you just said, and yet and still.
I agreed. I spotted you.
Sure.
How much did I spot you? Mitch, tell the people that didn't listen how many points did I spot you, the listener. How many points did I spot you on this defense?
14 additional points.
All right?
Yeah.
Where are we on a season average, Brady? Where are we? I think last year's team gave up 10 and some change. We're giving up 12, and that's because LSU put 30 on us win the game.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Despite the struggles and some of the spurts where we played poor, and we did play poor.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a game where you were truly sitting on your couch thinking, oh, shit, Georgia about to lose this?
You mean against LSU or against anyone?
Any of the times where we looked pedestrian, was there a time in your mind where you were like, man, we finna drop this one?
No, the closest I got all season long was probably that Missouri game, but even then I was like, no, we're just going to win it, you know. But
me too. That's how I felt, and I knew it though. Mitch, in years past, in previous administrations, we'd have those types of games, and we were hopeful, but we'd lose them. We'd lose them.
Yeah, you're
there
right.
were games we'd jump out and start beating somebody's ass, and they'd roar back, and we'd lose them.
Yeah.
I got frustrated. I got angry. I got infuriated because I'm greedy, and I don't just want to win. I want to look good while I win. But there was never a moment in this season where I was like, oh, man, here's that game they were telling us about. We fitting to drop this one. I knew it in my heart. We're going to win this game. We're that team now. We're that team where you, everybody else in the world is not a Georgia fan or your team ain't Georgia. You now have to bring your best game for 4 quarters. You now have to hang on and bite your fingernails against us.
Right.
You now have to land haymaker after haymaker after haymaker to hope that we stay down. That was Bama the last decade. That's us now.
dude. A
How does
thought
that
that
feel?
occurred
How's
to
that
me.
feel?
I mean, it feels great. I have to tell you, though, a thought that occurred to me over the past week or so since we last met was think about all the teams. Think about Lanning's staff, and think about Shane Beamer's staff, and Heupel's staff, and think about they went to the dry erase board, right? And they spent a lot of time on it. They were like, here's this monster that we have to fight, and this is what we're going to do. And they came up with their best possible solution, right? I mean, Lanning's guys worked on us all off season. He said, this is the task at hand. We got to go attack these dudes. And then the game starts and they are able to muster a field goal. And then Carolina is able to, muster 7 points in the final, like, what was it, 53 seconds of the game? They finally managed to score a touchdown. Tennessee, geez, did Tennessee score a touchdown until the second half? I can't really remember. It was like 4 minutes to go in the game. They finally scored a touchdown. It's just astonishing to me, man. It's like you can work so hard. So Ohio State's, we're going to have, I suppose we should tell the people this right now. We're going to take next week off. Matt and I are going to take the week off. We'll meet back 2 Tuesdays from now.
2 Tuesdays.
And we are going to, that'll be December the 20th. We will meet with you people. We will tell you the truth as we see it and the truth as it is. And then we're going to go celebrate Christmas with our families and all that good business. And I'm going to open up my fuzzy Georgia socks and put them on and parade around and drink hot cocoa and the such, right? And then we are going to meet up. Oh gosh, when is the game, Matt? So it'll be December 31st, right?
31st, I believe it is at 8 p.m. That is New Year's Eve. I've already got that night off.
Yeah,
I'll be around. Now I'll say this: there's a lot of narrative that this is Ohio State is a concern for Georgia, the way they're built. I can agree with that. I can see it. They are statistically vastly superior offensively to LSU, and LSU sold out. Decided we're gonna sling the ball, go for broke, live by the sword. They died by the sword. If Ohio State were to do that could give us problems because right now, the last time I saw our back end, they weren't covering shit. Keith Ringo was on my list. Malachi Starks got burned a few times.
He finally looked like the freshman that he is, right? Like
that
for the
could
first
be
time.
an issue. I just don't know if Ohio State's going to do that because the stakes are high for them too.
Yeah.
Right? This is a chance for them to go on and, there's a natty on the line. You want to go play crazy things can happen. I don't know if they're going to do that. Number two, I don't know. Again, now we're that team. They got to bite their fingernails and go for 4 quarters. And I don't know if they've got enough at every position group to do that.
I don't need it. I was listening to shout out to DGD podcast, Robert Reynolds and those guys. I was listening to them this week, and I heard, and they had on a KTG. KTG was on there. It was his birthday last year. His birthday was celebrated on the day that Georgia lost their only game. So he had a terrible birthday last year, and this year was a little better for him. So happy birthday to you, buddy. But I was listening to their show, and they asked me, like, Caleb, what did you think about, Georgia giving up these 500 points? And dude, you know what he said? And it was, I mean, I really agree with him. He was like, dude, I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier that we gave up that many yards. And they were like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, because now Kirby has something to bitch about for a whole month. Right. So when those guys go into the workshop, they're going there with a purpose. The purpose is fix it. We have a problem. Let's fix it.
Again, yes, and that makes sense. That's actually quite smart, or a smart way to look at it. I just going back to what I said minutes ago, giving up all them yards, surrendering 30 points, and it wasn't even within 3 scores.
Yeah, I know. I mean, all due respect to LSU. I mean, I thought that they had a tremendous season and all that. I'm not really trash talking when I say anything like that. They did have a really good season considering
ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I think so. Brian Kelly's first season in the SEC, and everybody had all their jokes and all that. And I remember that some of the talking heads, Josh Pate, the ESPN guys, they all said the same thing. You want to hear those jokes dry up? Let him start winning some games. And sure enough, they started winning games. And you don't hear. Yeah, we like to make jokes now, but nobody's really joking about LSU. And let me tell you something else, brother. They are trending upward. This team isn't a flash in the pan. LSU's got talent. They recruit very,
Kelly is
very well.
going to make them a solid. Brian Kelly is going to make them a solid team.
Whose stock is higher? Whose stock is higher right now? LSU or Bama? Whose stock is higher?
As we speak?
Yeah, I mean for the coming season, for the coming next season, season
for next
2023.
season. Well, I don't know. There's lots going to go into that. We still got to see how portal shakes out. We got to see how the recruiting classes close. Bama's still got a class 310. I don't see LSU. I don't know where LSU is. Top 5, top 6. Where are they?
They're up there. I think last I checked, I think they were number 4 in the SEC, something like that. Or maybe even 3. Even I haven't looked at it in a while. But yeah, that's just my point. It's like Bama's got this big recruiting class coming in, but look, Bryce Young's leaving, Will Anderson's leaving. I'm presuming, I'm assuming those guys are leaving. They've had some portal activity already. There seems to be a bit of unrest in Tuscaloosa. Coordinators and whatnot. We'll get into all these details at some point, but that seems to be like what's going on that side of the fence. You hear Keyshawn Boutte is coming back. He's coming back to LSU. I was honest. I was flabbergasted by that. Right, that man could go make millions of dollars in the NFL right now. And nope, he's going to come back. Harold Perkins is only a freshman. Jaden Daniels, but what about Nussmeier? For God's sakes, that guy, Jesus.
Yeah, man, Nussmeier. When they turned him loose, he was something else. Harold Perkins, though, man. Harold Perkins is he's a monster as long as there's nobody out there named Darnell Washington. Folks, if you ain't go back and watch the film, let me tell you what. Everybody, Darnell needs more touches. Darnell needs more touches. No, he's touching plenty. He's touching dudes and grounding them into dust. His value to this team is erasing sons of bitches from the other team. That you can't do. It's an extra, faster offensive tackle. We have 3 offensive tackles, and it ain't fair. You don't believe me? Go watch the tape. That's what I'm talking about, man. It's that. Nobody talks about that. It's that kind of shit that I think is going to put Ohio State in some trouble. They don't see dudes like that up there. They don't see it. What are you doing? What are you working on?
I'm pulling up something because I want to ask you a question about it. Watch this. Because something needs to be said about this.
Well, let's see it. Oh, the picture. Yeah.
No, let's not all pretend that this didn't happen, all right? Because this is a thing that I saw with my eyes. This happens. Yeah. And dude, this is another animal, all right? This is another, and I'm not talking about just Jalen Carter, but he is an animal, all right? But here's the fact, dude. If people want to say, how did the SEC championship go? Look like it was a close game. Any sort of nonsense like that, just show them this. Just show them this picture. This picture is going to go down in the history, like the one with the bulldog trying to bite the Auburn guy. You know what I mean? The hobnail boot. This is going to be one of those folklorish type tales. Remember that time that Jalen Carter sacked the quarterback and just picked him up like he won a prize at the fair.
Held him up like a trophy. Held that man up like a trophy.
And gave us the number 1. Dude,
just listeners, when that happens in prison, bad things happen afterwards. And bad things happen afterwards to LSU. Prison love him. You're going to eat your cornbread? That's what Jalen Carter said when he had him up. Maybe I should eat your cornbread. And he did.
Hey, yo, Robert, I hope you caught our shout out. We gave you a shout out earlier there, buddy. Welcome to the show, man. But yeah, I mean, it's like there was that moment where I was like, I see him going for the sack, and I see him lift him up, and I'm thinking, how many times have you seen it? Like the guy lifts the guy up and then this full like belly to back suplex right into the ground, 15 yards, personal foul. You've seen it 1,000 times, right? But he lifted him. I was like, oh God, please don't throw him down. Please don't throw him down. And he just held him. Just held him there like a toddler. I was like, that is the most gangster
the
thing.
Awareness in that moment though was impressive, because you've seen dudes do that before and slam guys down, and all of a sudden it's 15 yards.
Yeah,
he just gently, hey, you chill out. We're number one.
If he'd have popped a pacifier into his mouth, oh man!
Sat down,
but anyway,
gave him a bottle.
So those were the good parts. I mean, Stetson played extremely well, 4 touchdown passes. Welcome back, Kendall Milton. Let's say that. Welcome back, Kendall Milton. He's been on our list for a while, and he ran very, very well. What can you say?
Now is the time. We
need him. Yeah. We
need these dudes that we thought were going to be dudes to be dudes. Now, Keely Ringo, that's the one.
Well, I want to say some things that I said to you. I was like, philosophically, I think Georgia's plan was to rush 4, drop 7, in an attempt to keep a mobile quarterback in the pocket. I think where Daniels has been, dangerous on the season, he's sort of like AR, from Florida. So he's sort of like that. When Florida had their greatest success, it was when the protection broke down and AR was forced to improvise. And then all of a sudden he's rumbling and stumbling for 15 yards, and now they got a first down. And you're like, what happened? We busted the play. And now he's down the field, right? And same thing with Jaden Daniels. He's kind of the same caliber of a quarterback, or Robbie Ashford from Auburn, or Mike Wright from Vanderbilt, who by the way is in the portal. Any number of those guys, right? They can just scoot around a little bit. Sometimes the best thing you can do is like keep them back there and make them throw the ball. And so that's what we try to do. We try to keep Jaden Daniels in the pocket, make him throw the ball. We're not going to let him hurt us with his legs. We want him to hurt us, if he can, with his arm. And so philosophically, I think that's sound. Now, we didn't execute it, right? So like he did throw the ball, which is what we wanted him to do. And our guys just had trouble covering it, right?
Well, they looked like they looked last year in Atlanta against Bama. The only difference was we had a whole lot more points. Now, that's the other part of this team that we got to admit. The defense has played great, has played terrible. This offense has picked up the slack. Last year, the offense could not pick up the slack. If we got behind that one game where we needed Stetson Bennett and that offense to roll, couldn't do it. Now they can roll.
Well, the same thing can be said about, say, the Kentucky game. When the offense spits and sputters and only manages 16 points, well, the defense just pours water on it. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to allow anything. You're going to have to drive the entire length of the field to get the only 6 points you're going to see. You know what I mean? And you might do that one time, but you're not going to do it repeatedly. And I kind of feel like that's that complementary football that we've been talking about all year. This team, offensively and defensively, it just complements each other, the likes of which I've never really seen.
It's a thing. They've been, I think it was more, like I said, one-sided last year. That defense, you knew what it was. You said it, the angel of death. It's quiet. You don't really know it's here. You just wake up the next day and you're like, what happened to my family? Georgia happened to your family. I'm sorry.
Right. Jalen Carter is holding your firstborn son. Given the
and he's holding him like this.
I love it.
So, I mean, I'm happy about where we are, man. Playoff appearance, that's about all I could hope for in the preseason. So my prediction's on point, and we made it. I'm hoping for more, but I'm not going to freak out if we don't get more, because also, folks, consensus, repeat national champions is just something the universe doesn't like. The math just is not there. It's just to the best of teams at the best of times. That shit don't happen. Look at Florida. Look at Miami. Look at FSU. Name any. I mean, Bama. Bama should, by rights, have repeated a couple of times in this last decade. Couldn't get it done. It just doesn't. It's not something that happens often. So this is
It's rare. I mean, that's what it
This
is.
is
It's rare.
a national championship is a special opportunity, and the drought we went through that made it more special. But this thing is even more special because now you're not just making history for your program. You're making history if you do this
For the game.
in, in the big picture. Now you're in a
Yeah.
class that there ain't many programs in that class.
Sure. So there's one more topic that I want to bring up. I want to ask you about, and I'm anticipating your response, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it bears asking. All right, Stetson for Heisman.
Okay,
How do you feel about Stetson for Heisman?
I think Williams locked it up with his those last two games that they won where he played heroically. You take that, combine it with USC media bias.
Yeah,
I think it's Caleb Williams. I'm just glad Stetson got the invite. He was talked about. It was mentioned. It's been joked about. He's going to be sitting in that room in New York. A former walk-on who transferred out, came back, threatened to transfer again if he didn't get the starting position. Was given that, and has played an important part in this run that we're on in the last 2 years. I think that's about I think being in the last four is as far as he's going to go. I don't know if the rest of the country and those voters are ready to pull the trigger, if you will. But if he wins it, we'll never hear the end of it, and it will be glorious.
No, you're right. If he were to mess around and
it will be glorious.
Yeah, we wouldn't hear the end of it, but you're right. I'd be willing to listen to it. Chandler, welcome back, Chandler. Chandler says he thinks Duggan should get it for the game of the Big 12. Yeah, I agree, dude.
And
Duggan
Chandler ain't the only one to say
off.
that, man. That made national media. They were talking like, "Hey, man, in that fourth quarter, Duggan looked the part, played the part. He should get a nod." But I think the USC media bias, which is a real thing, is going to take over. Combine that with what Caleb Williams was able to accomplish in those games where he did win and look good.
Sure.
I think he locked it up then.
Lincoln Riley is a Heisman maker. He makes Heisman Trophy winners. He's shown that at Oklahoma.
You don't win championships, but boy, you can go get that Heisman Trophy, which.
I think Duggan has played admirably well on the course of the season. Who was the other? Who was the other guy? Oh, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud. Yeah. He's had a heck of a season.
He was in it. He was considered a front runner until.
Yeah. I'm going to be on record here, Matt, and I'm going to say this. I don't think that Stetson is really the guy that should be there with those other three guys. I mean, Hendon Hooker had a hell of a year, man. But past that, Michael Penix out at Washington had a fantastic year. Drake May the list goes on. There were dudes who had great years. And I'm having said all that, Stetson's up there on the stage. Okay, there are people who put him on the stage, right? And I think that anybody who would say that if you want to go down that dark alley of, well, Stetson ain't this and Stetson ain't that, you can if you want to. But you ain't been paying attention, okay? Because the dude is, despite our best efforts to say what he ain't, he just continues being what he is. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
Man, if he can pull that in, good for him. I'm not a Heisman guy. I don't give two shits about the Heisman. For me to try and care about it now because he's in there would be disingenuous.
Sure.
Best of luck to you, Stetson. If you get it, I'll rah to the best of my ability. I just don't care about the Heisman. It's been ruined too many years. Too many people have gotten screwed because of brand bias and media bias. So I'm not going to pretend like it matters to me now. But good luck in New York. But if he does,
it's a great story.
If he pulls it in and then gets a repeat, that's got to be a movie. Now the problem is his life ain't really that dramatic. There's nothing to add in. Like, what are you gonna tell me? What are you gonna tell me to make the movie interesting, other than him just wearing a red jersey with a G on the side of it and winning games? It ain't like Rudy where they were like, yeah, and he was couldn't make the team, and he just, he wasn't even given a chance, and they held him back, and everybody hated him, and then he solved all the world's problems and solved racism for a week, and they gave him one play. And he fed the hungry, and he healed the sick. No, Stetson's story is more like, no, he just ran off a bunch of 5 stars, and then just started winning a bunch of games.
Yeah, what was that thing that
Where's the drama?
What was that thing that Cam Smith said from South Carolina after the Tennessee game? You remember that when they were like, "And what did Coach tell you at halftime?" He said, "Coach told us to drop our nuts." Right? That's all Stetson has done the whole time.
Stetson's almost like a little bit of a villain. I don't know if y'all been paying attention. Stetson's got a little bit of an attitude. Stetson's got a little bit of arrogance about him, despite the fact that he ain't this and he ain't that. Go back and watch some of the look in his eyes, or some of the shit he does to the sideline when a play goes the right way. Stetson's got a little bit of.
It's that chip, man. It's that chip on his shoulder,
Moxie is what they call it. He got a little bit of moxie. He's got a little bit of
He something about him reminds me of Joe Pesci. You know how Joe Pesci's always this little short, sort of unassuming, chubby little dude. And everybody's like, "Ah, God, man, go get your shine box kind of stuff." You mess around with Joe Pesci if you want to, right? That dude will make you disappear in the desert. And I think the Stetson's kind of like that.
Unless he's in Home Alone, which is what my children are hooked on right now. Watching my children mark out for Kevin McAllister beating the shit out of Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern makes my heart glow, because I used to mark out for Macaulay Culkin fucking them 2 dudes up. They cheer. My kids get up and cheer when that paint can knocks out Joe Pesci's gold tooth. When that blowtorch burns his head, they're like, "Yeah!" So yes,
filthy animals.
Most of the time you're right about Joe Pesci, except in that movie, and then I went on that tirade.
That's beautiful. Well, hey, buddy, is there anything else you wanna discuss this evening? There's news being made right now.
2 years in the undefeated bucket in the regular season. I think the only other 2 teams to do that are Bama, Florida in the 90s. With a chance for a repeat natty. Is there anything you're not happy with right now with the Georgia football program?
1 second. Breaking news. Dadgummit, Patrick.
Well, you also can't spell sugar without U-A.
Okay.
Is there anything you're unhappy with?
I'm unhappy about? I mean, honestly, Matt, the most unhappy thing in my life right now is the fact that I got to wait till the 31st to watch them play again. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. I feel good. I feel good, and I feel at ease. I like the trajectory of the program. I mean, it's sky high, right? The recruiting class. I'm very excited to see how this recruiting class wraps up. I'm very excited that we don't have guys, scrambling to jump in the portal yet. Maybe that still happens. I don't know, but there's a part of me that thinks that it probably won't. I don't know, man. I think Kirby has built the Death Star, and it's just out there, blowing up Alderaan and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. No, is there anything you're unhappy with?
Not really. Considering where we've been, where we came from, for the majority of my lifetime. Older Georgia fans can lean back on, times where it was like this, where Georgia was a dominant force in, previous decades before I was alive. But my fandom didn't really start till the 90s and the 2000s, and the 90s were the dark ages, and the 2000s weren't even really that much better. There were some spurts here and there, but now we're that team. You have to bite your fingernails when you face us. Previous to Kirby putting this thing together, we knew we had it, but we had to bite our fingernails because we just couldn't put it together.
Yeah. I've said about the Mark Richt years so many times that it wasn't, Mark Richt was really good at going into the butcher shop and selecting the finest cuts of meat and then taking them back to his house and turning them to hamburgers. You know what I mean? Like we would get guys that were great on day one, and they never got any better. They were the same thing on the last that they were on day the first.
Yeah.
And seen it a billion times. And now it's different. We get these guys that are great on day one, and then we turn them into something even greater than that.
Yeah.
So I like where it is right now. Hey, listen, let me tell you folks at home something. If you're not like, shared, and subscribed and commenting and all that good business, you should. But go over to Facebook. Go to the Field of Streams Facebook group. Search it out. Just type it in the little bar up there, and join the group. We'll let you in, no problem. There's no fee or anything like that. We put together a little bowl pick'em contest. There's no money involved, and I don't think there's going to be a prize other than bragging rights. But who knows? I might throw a Tennessee jersey or something into the mix. Who knows? We'll see. But go play the pick'em contest with us. And if you think that we are so full of crap and that we spit nonsense, let's see if you can outpick us. That would be super fun. So go do it. And again, it's just bragging rights, and if you win, we'll give you a shout out here on the show, something like that. Maybe a Tennessee jersey, maybe my old tattered UGA flag from last year is laying around here somewhere. Maybe I could send that to you in the mail or something. Who knows? We will see, right? But again, like, share, subscribe, do all those things. If you want to see us continue this stuff, we would love to. And you got an opportunity for a petty factoid, Matt, if you want it.
I've given it up because I don't feel petty no more.
Oh my good God! I'm gonna have to remove
And if
that.
Georgia pulls off this repeat, man, I'm gonna be like the new Dalai Lama. I'm gonna be like
Vito Corleone.
I'm gonna be like the Gandhi of college football. Kiss the ring, and what can I do for you? What tell me how to help you and your family.
On this, the day of my daughter's wedding.
I cannot resist. I can't resist you can't resist an offer. I can't resist a request. What do you need from me?
I hear you.
I'll be more like Paulie and Goodfellas. Like, you want me to be your partner? This ain't even fair.
Well, dude, it's been fun. Thank you for going on this ride with me all season. I've enjoyed it, and we're going to continue on. Of course, this is. I just wanted to say it's been super fun. Something to look forward to. I'm happy that we're still doing this thing that we have been doing now, and looking forward to it getting better. So make sure if you like what we do here, tell a friend. Share this video. Share it with your pals. Tell them to come join us.
Just keep hitting subscribe. Just keep doing it.
Right. Click the little bell. It's Tuesday night. It's 9:30. That's when we're coming on. I need to. Remember, we're going to take next Tuesday off. Next Tuesday is an off night for us, and then we'll come back the following Tuesday to talk up this upcoming matchup with Ohio State.
So the 13th, no show. On the 20th, Tuesday the 20th.
Yep.
Tentatively, 9:30. If I got to work early, Mitch may be running solo, but we'll see how it shakes out.
We'll post something on social media about that. Anyway, folks, this is Mitch. I'm out. We'll see y'all next time. Go Dogs.